Anything else? Can I play another half a song for you guys?
Sure.
Color.
In color, yeah, sure, no problem. I can do that. So, we were telling a little bit of the story on the air. Were anybody listening this afternoon when we did our interview? You were definitely there, for sure. I'm pretty sure I remember you. I was telling you earlier that I've kind of made my living as a songwriter over the years, and I've been in Nashville for like 18 years now. And over the course of that time, I've had, I think, 30 different cuts on major label acts over the years, from everybody from like John Anderson, Alabama, Trace Adkins, a bunch of different folks over the years. But you know, every once in a while, very, very great once in a while, you write something that really touches somebody in a way that you never thought you could with a song, and this is one of those songs. I wrote it with Jamie Johnson, and y'all like Jamie? Friends of Jamie Johnson? He's one of the finest country singers around. He's a really, really talented guy. And you know, we went through a strange battle with this song. Was that when we wrote it, I wanted to cut it, but my album was finished, so it didn't go on my record. And it went on hold for Trace Adkins and then Alan Jackson. And they ended up fighting over it for a little while and figuring out who's going to cut it. And eventually Trace decided that Trace would cut it. So Trace cut the record, and I was super excited. And at that point, I was extremely broke and really didn't have any money because, you know, I was just a kind of working man. When you work as a songwriter and you don't have any hits, you're broke. Straight up broke. I think I was making like $20,000 a year. And I'm thinking that, you know, hey, a song by Trace Adkins could be a huge hit, and it could change my life. It could get me basically out of poverty and pay off my credit cards and do all that stuff. So, and I get an angry phone call from Trace's producer one day. He said, hey, what the hell's going on with our song? I was like, well, as far as I know, y'all cut it and you're putting it out as a single, right? He says, no. He says, your buddy's putting it out. I said, what buddy? I don't have any buddies that are that stupid. And he said, Jamie Johnson. Jamie's going to cut it. And at that point, Jamie didn't have a record deal that I knew of. He had nothing going on. And, you know, for a new act in Nashville to break through to the other side and have hits at radio is tens of thousands to one. It really is. It's just a long shot. It doesn't matter how good you are. That's not the issue. It's about so many other things other than just music. And so it's out of your hands. And I thought, well, you know, Jamie's amazing, but I'll continue to eat ramen noodles and hot dogs if Jamie cuts it. And so I was kind of upset about it. My publisher was kind of upset about it. And Jamie had just gotten signed to Mercury Records after he put out that Lonesome Song. Y'all know that album, that Lonesome Song album had In Color and a bunch of other great stuff on it. Well, he put it out independently, and then Mercury picked it up and said, we're going to run with In Color as the first single. And I guess, you know, God knows more about what we need than we do ourselves, because I'm really thankful to say that this song was the song of the year at the CMAs and the ACMs, and we actually got to go to the Grammys because of this song. So if you know it, I'd love to hear you sing. I said, Grandpa, what's this picture here? It's all black and white. It ain't real clear, said you there. I said, yeah, I was 11. And times were tough back in 35. This is me and Uncle Joe just trying to survive a cotton farm. Great Depression. And if it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, you should have seen it in color. West one he's taking overseas in the middle of hell, 1943. In the wintertime, you can almost see my breath. Well, that was my tale gone. Old Johnny McGee, he was in high school. New Orleans, and he had my back right through the day we left. And if it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, you should have seen it in color. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but you can't see what those shades of gray can cover. You should have seen it in color. Well, the day we wrote this song, we were talking about America's heroes. Our men and our women who fight around the world for us on night just like tonight. And I know that Wisconsin has given up more than its fair share of brothers and sisters for the cause. I want to say thank you to any military members in here, former military and their families, for your service to our country. I come from a military family. My dad was a drill sergeant in the U.S. Army for 23 years. And growing up, I always wondered why my dad was such a pain in my ass. As I definitely did not appreciate the drill sergeant waking me up every morning before I went to school, turning over my bunk, treating me like it was boot camp. But I joined the Navy at 19 years old, and by the time I turned 21, I came back with a much greater and deeper respect for my father and for my grandfather. My father was a drill sergeant, and my grandfather was a Army member back in the day, back in Korea. And long before I was ever born, he was in some godforsaken jungle halfway around the world fighting for his life. I wondered many times what it is that makes a man wake up in those kind of conditions and want to fight their way out instead of laying down and dying. Because I know there's days they feel like doing that. And I'm not sure I have a very good answer for all men, but I know what that one thing was for my grandfather. That was my grandmother. And they were married for over 50 years, y'all. Anybody that's been married for 5 minutes knows that 50 years is an eternity. But it's kind of like a war all on its own, isn't it? But my grandfather was one of the strongest men I'd ever met. And in all the years I've been alive, I never saw him cry but one time. And that was the day they laid my grandmother in the ground after she lost her battle with breast cancer. When he laid those roses at her graveside, I watched him break down like a baby. That's what love should do to you. I hope everybody in here finds that kind of love in their lifetime. It's the only thing that's going to heal this broken world we're living in is love. That's exactly what we wrote this song about. This one is my favorite one. This is me and Grandma with the summer sun all dressed up. The day we said our vows. You can't tell it here, but it was hot that June. That her rose was red and her eyes were blue. And just look at that smile. I was so proud. That's the story of my life. Right there in black and white. And if it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple have seen it in color. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but you can't see what those shades of gray keep cover. You should have seen it in color. I said, Grandpa, what's this picture here? It's all black and white and ain't real clear. Is that you there? He said, yeah, I was loved one. Nice to see y'all.